We've spent 16 years, that's 8 years each, living in retirement, planning for and figuring things out.
And after all that time, we have kind of figured out what matters most and what doesn't matter at all.
So in this video, we're going to unpack our 16 years of living in retirement, our mistakes, our wins, and our losses so that you can live the best retirement ever.
Do you remember when we first retired?
The day?
Yeah.
Friday, December 29th,
Good.
2018.
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the afternoon. I walked out the door, and I remember looking back at the big building, going, well, 38 years, it's over.
You weren't like me. I was like, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
I was very emotional because it was a family business. Right. We had sold it 5 years before, and now the name was gone, the old name, and there was 80 people working there, and many people that had worked with me for 20 or 30 years. And you had the same experience.
Yeah.
You had people that worked with you for a long time.
Oh, gosh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to say I walked out and skipped down the lane. There was some remorse, regrets, and all the things, but when we did walk out the door, it felt like we were most concerned about our money and timelines. And what we didn't realize was our key learnings and what would really transition our retirement was living through what went wrong and making the corrections and then moving forward.
Last week, we made a list, and I have it up on the screen to make sure we don't miss anything. But when I was getting ready to film this morning, something that wasn't on the list really resonated with me. And I would say the very first piece of advice that we can give you that maybe we didn't quite get was don't try and just wing it. Right. We are sold all of these lies that as soon as you have enough money and you can afford to retire, you should do it, and then you can sit back, take it easy, and just enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's what my dad did, and that's what people tell us. You can relax, you can travel, you can do all these things. So what did we do? We did that.
Yeah.
We relaxed and we traveled, and we kind of were winging it because there really was nowhere to find like what we're talking about today in our business. When you looked up back then, retirement roadmap, 98% of it was financial.
Yeah, absolutely.
There wasn't anything about the pillars we talk about, our physical wellness, our mental wellness, the relationships we have, our relationships, wisdom sharing, giving back, all of these components we now have in a masterclass that we're just about to finish. So you don't want to wing it. If you're thinking...
And I'm a wing it girl.
You are a wing it girl.
I mean, I can... I remember corporately I could wing it. Someone pulled me into a meeting because someone couldn't make it, or someone was sick. I could always kind of catch up and kind of wing it. But we did find when we were winging it, we were stubbing our toe quite a bit.
We were. So the first thing we actually wrote down was the earlier you practice being retired, the more prepared you're going to be.
Which makes no sense.
Well, it doesn't.
Absolutely makes no sense.
Well, it doesn't make...
Who has the time to practice being retired while they're working?
All right, let's cross this one out.
No,
let's say this is... I'm going to back up.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm
no,
kidding.
But it just...
I know, it doesn't
it's
make
a hard
any sense.
concept to get your head around. And being a college athlete and an athlete for most of my life, I was never a great practice player. And some people are great practice players, not game time, showtime players, and I was kind of the opposite. So this concept of practicing retirement before you retire is important, but it's not lost on me that it's hard to do.
Well, here's the way I would look at it. What you don't want to do is go from your full-time 40, 50, 60-hour-a-week career, end it on a Friday, and then start retirement on Monday with zero planning, zero testing, zero idea of what you're going to do except wing it. Again, the first thing was wing it. That's what a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. And then they become disenfranchised with it. They're like, this is all there is. So I think it's really important. Obviously, we're big structure people, and we do a masterclass on how to live your best retirement ever, from drift to discovery. And you've got to have a little bit of a framework on what it is you're going to do, and try it the last year of your career.
Yeah.
Think about your hobbies. Think about writing. Think about mentoring somebody. Think about staying with your company for 10 hours a week just to keep engaged. You can't just flip a switch and be retired and have it be successful.
And that even bleeds over to those of you who may be thinking about a gap year, right? So a lot of people couch the gap year as that's my do nothing year. And I would caution you against a gap year being a zero-sum game.
Right.
You know, gap year still has to provide you meaning and deep insights and a path forward. And we're not against a gap year.
I think a gap year is a good idea for certain people. If that's something, I took a gap year between high school and college, and it made me realize I needed to go to college versus just staying home and going from job to job. So I think a gap year is a good idea. If you're in the phase where you're thinking about retirement, click the link below for our 1 year to retire checklist that really helps you start thinking about what retirement could look like and getting you prepared for that. So that document, which is free, down below in the link, will really help you think more about what we're talking about today.
Okay, the second point is the hardest part isn't necessarily money, it's actually meaning. And if you think about it, you've been driven by purpose and structure and meaning within your jobs, within your professions, within your families for a long period of time. I sat next to a lady on the plane last week who gave me this great tagline. She said, you know, Jody, when I finished up my career, I always thought it was a big flex to say, I do nothing. And she said, till I realized the look on everyone's face was kind of like, what do you mean you do nothing? She said, it wasn't quite the flex I thought it would be, because she's now in a phase where she's really searching for meaning, searching for her new identity and her next kind of evolution of herself.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, if you've got the money wired, then you're like, okay, I've got 10, 20, 30 years to go in this phase of life. You know, my career was 38 years. We are 8 years into retirement. I'm 68. I got another
30?
30?
I think you can do 30. Go 98.
So, got the money. What about the meaning? I mean, there's a lot of time left that we both have. So we've built some meaning around this business, and it's something you want to think about too. It can't just be golf 3 days a week, lunch with your buddies, drinks, go home, take a nap, wake up, maybe have a martini, go out to dinner. That's what my dad did. And while he says he was happy during that time, he never found a new meaning. And unfortunately, he passed away after 15 years.
Right.
We're 8 years into it. I mean,
I know.
I can't imagine what my dad could have been had he had the framework that we have now.
Right. The next point is, if you think about your favorite sports team or coach, right? They might think they have a plan, but what they really have is what you need in retirement, and that's a playbook. You know, a playbook is different than a plan because it ebbs and flows. You make changes based on what the other team's doing, and in this case, based on how your life is unfolding. So a playbook is really important during this phase.
And this idea came up because we talk about planning all the time. We talk about structure all the time. And when we were talking last week about this whole idea of planning, people push back. Like, you guys plan too much. Right. So I think we're going to start using the word a playbook, which is, here's things you can do for your physical wellness. Here's things you can do for your relationships. So it's not a structured type plan. It's a playbook.
It shifts.
Yeah, and it moves and evolves as time goes on. I mean, I'm evolving all the time, and my friends are evolving all the time, and my desire for learning new things evolves all the time. So it's really having this playbook that learning's important, and what are the 6 different plays you could have in that.
That's great. That's great. The next one is, while you might think downsizing your home is relatively easy, downsizing your expectations is super hard.
Yeah, I like that. You know, there's 2 schools of thought on this. If you are caught up in the lies that we've been told, where you retire and then you have no pressure, you have no calendar, you could do what you want to do, when you want to do it, who you want to do it with, and there's no accountability in any way, that's okay, because then you can probably live that pretty well. But if you're like us, where our expectations are different, we want to be the best grandparents ever. We want to start a small business, this YouTube channel. We want to thrive and grow and travel the world and all of these dreams that we might have. it's hard to downsize those expectations and feel like you're living a fulfilling life. So you've got to find the line that works for you for each of the areas of retirement. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I love this one. You don't need more stuff. You need more experiences. And Jody is our CEO, our Chief Experience Officer of the family, or CFO.
I thought it was the Chief Fun
Officer. So we are all about not buying our kids, the latest iPhone upgrade or the latest new air filter for their house or something. We want experiences with them. My son happens to be speaking out in Indianapolis on November 11th.
Something.
Yeah. And
you're thinking of going.
I'm thinking of going. Jody and I have a lot of travel. But all I need to do is get on a plane on Monday from here in Florida, go to Indianapolis on Southwest, direct. I hope this video comes out after because I'm going to surprise him. But he's speaking at a conference all day Tuesday in Indianapolis. And how great would it be for me to show up, buy a ticket, just get in there and watch him speak? That's an experience for he and I together that he'll remember forever.
And there's a thought that memories compound more than the interest on your money could ever compound. So more than the interest on your money could ever make someone happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. The next one, I kind of own this also for our family in terms of connections. Mm-hmm. Connections don't just happen. They take work. They take energy. They take effort. They take sacrifice sometimes. They take expanding your bandwidth sometimes. For those of you who've been watching our channel, I'm planning 3 weddings next year. 3 weddings in 1 year for our 3 daughters. And it's exhausting sometimes, but I'm so privileged and I feel so happy to have the ability to be with them walking through this amazing time. And the connection that we're building and I'm building with their new significant others, our newest family members, takes a lot of effort.
Another thing we want to talk about, a lesson that we've learned, is the people around you, your community, shape you more than your portfolio does, more than your money does. I have a really good friend who's a roommate in college, and I have stayed in touch with him on and off over the years. A couple times a year we'll speak. Turns out when we bought our home up in New Jersey, he lives 2 towns away, and we had the privilege and honor of reconnecting this summer and got together probably 5 times and had some really deep, thoughtful discussions about family, about faith, about what's important to us now, about the success that we had, about what we're looking forward to for the next 20 or 30 years. And that is worth so much more to me than any kind of money. And he just called me this morning with a story about how he spent the weekend with 2 of his kids in California, his daughter who just had a baby and her husband, and the amazing discussion and conversations they had now as adults with children, a family. And he was almost in tears telling me the joy that he had from that trip. So that experience just this morning, fresh on my mind, I cried at certain times during that call. That's so much more than anything else I could ever wish for in life.
Yeah.
Right? And you have moments like that with people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But
you had that one with a lady on the airplane, a complete stranger that you came to her aid. She was really in trouble on the plane. It's a long story, but as it turns out, her brother-in-law used to work with Jody in New Haven.
Yeah.
So crazy how the connections, this portfolio of friends. I know I'm hogging this one, but I think friendship, relationships is the golden ring of retirement.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is this isn't a new concept. I'm sure your parents, your mother, your father, as you were growing up said, it's important to know who you're surrounding yourself with. It's important to know who are your 5 key people. There's been actually psychological studies done on success of people who surround themselves with certain types of people. And I would say success of your retirement really depends on who you're going to surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with a bunch of, negative Neds or negative Nellies, you're going to end up becoming that person, that grumpy old person that you promised yourself you wouldn't become.
Yeah.
So, I think it's important to kind of look at the portfolio of people you're surrounding yourself with and determine, do I need to add a little spice in? Do I need to add a little joy in? Do I need to add a little laughter in? Do I need to add a little depth in? And figure out what you need to add in and seek those people out.
Yeah. Hey, this next one is yours.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Joy comes from micro moments, not just milestones.
See the smile on your face?
Well,
you talk about this all the time.
I'm a big joy person. As Mel Robbins says, I bring the weather. Like if I, as the mom, as the matriarch, if I show up and I'm kind of in a foul, nasty mood, or I'm kind of down and out, or God forbid I have a cold or flu because, then the whole world goes upside down. You bring the joy, you bring the weather in your micro moments that you have with people. And again, I had the opportunity, I have a feeling for the next year, you guys are going to hear a lot about weddings, but I had the opportunity to fly from Florida to New York City to do wedding dress shopping with my daughter and her future mother-in-law. And we had such a nice couple of days together, nice quiet moments with just my daughter, nice quiet moments with just my future in-law, and then nice quiet moments for the three of us to be together. It was really a very special time for all of us. And those micro moments are propelling us through some of the more challenging times of wedding planning.
Yeah, another micro moment that I just thought of as you're talking is the couple that we met in April of this year in Florida. Our last week here, we were at a coffee shop, and this couple was at the next table, and Jody and I are chatting, and they saw that Ruby the dog, and they started chatting, and we sat there for like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
we had
great.
Not planned it, and we became fast friends, as fast as you can get in an hour and a half with complete strangers. So,
at a coffee shop in a parking lot.
Yeah, in a parking lot. So we get back, and we're at this coffee shop 2 weeks ago, and we're sitting there having coffee with Ruby, and Jody says, "Hey, do you remember that couple we met here back in May?" And as she said those words, guess who showed up at the coffee shop? The couple that we had coffee with, Eric and
Sonia.
So, yeah, now we know their names, Eric and Sonia. And we had another hour-long session.
So great.
And that was by circumstance. Tomorrow, we've planned to have breakfast together, another micro moment. This isn't a big, let's go to dinner with 6 couples and make it a big deal. It's just little moments that we fell into that we just loved, and they're becoming fast friends.
Yeah, they're great.
And really a big, important part of our life down here.
Yep.
So, all right, a couple questions our team put together. Hi, I'm Don. I'm 68. I'm scared of losing relevance when I stop working. How do you stay useful without a job? Well, you could be a grandparent, you could be a mentor, you could be a coach,
volunteer.
You could volunteer. So when you say job, volunteering is a job without pay, or you could start a small business. There's a lot of people. Eric and Sonia's thinking of maybe giving piano lessons again. She was a teacher her whole career, and she kind of misses that. So maybe she's going to do that, but that gives her joy. It gives her something to
it's
get up
not
for
as
in the
easy
morning.
to just kind of wake up and find what your next thing is going to be to give you purpose. And so, Don, I would suggest kind of really cataloging your character strengths, your values, what you enjoy doing, match it to hobbies and feelings you have when you're doing certain things, and translate that all into categories of opportunities for you to insert yourself. My pop, who is 79 years old, has an interview on Monday in our county at home with a judge who is the judge of the county seat, Chester County, Pennsylvania, in Westchester, PA. And he's interviewing for a job at the courthouse. And he's 79 years old, but he's always been interested in politics, then was in politics, and he worked for the Speaker of the House in the state of Pennsylvania for many, many years. And he's kept up with things, and he's sharp, and he's, feisty, and I'm not sure what he's going to be doing at the courthouse, but he has an interview Monday.
Well, if he gets the job,
we should interview him.
Well, not only that.
Except for he curses, you guys.
That's okay. And we should interview him because he's funny as hell. Is that they should do a reality TV show.
About him?
Jimmy goes to court.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be hysterical.
Yeah.
All right,
anyway, but that's, Don, that's an example of a man actually 10 years or more older than you who is still searching, but he's not afraid to try.
Well, I just looked ahead at this next question because I think this is really important. And this is from Phil. He says, my plans keep changing. How do I stop feeling like I'm failing? Well, I think if you're failing, you're learning and growing. That's something I always brought through my life and my career. And while if you're failing personally at something and you're hurting other people, you really want to, look into that. But if you're trying new things and it's not working out, that's okay. Pick yourself up again and try something else. Don't take that as a sign that you're no good and that you should just sit around and watch TV all day long. No, it's not. You failed at that, but try something else. We all have a God-given talent that we can uncover and use to make ourselves feel useful and contributing to society. It just takes a little bit of work to figure that out, like you said.
That's great.
Okay. Renee, 65 years old. My friendships disappeared after leaving work, ours too. How do you rebuild your circle? Jody's really good at this. I'm getting better at it. It's harder for me. I'm a self-diagnosed introvert. So for me to go out and find new friends takes a lot of effort, but I'm getting so much better at being at the coffee shop by myself, saying hello to someone who's by him or herself. Say, hey, what's up? How are you? My name's Mark. Well, what are you doing? Do you live down here? And I think that having that is good. Jody puts herself in larger communities, golf. What are some other things?
My Bible study.
Bible
group,
study.
Yeah,
you're
college
probably,
courses.
Yeah, I shouldn't answer this because I'm not good at it.
Yeah. No, I would say, it's not always easy, but what you can control is what you radiate. And I try to always radiate openness, friendliness, kind of the girl next door, the neighbor next door, how can I help? And you'd be shocked at how many doors open when you're looking at somebody and they're struggling. Someone trying to carry too many grocery bags, as easy as that. Someone juggling too many coffee cups. Someone searching for something in their purse and they can't find it and you're behind them and maybe they just bought a $2 cup of coffee and you say, don't worry, I got that for you. So, this idea of how can I help opens a lot of doors and it opens a lot of connections and friendships.
So this video, 16 years of retirement planning advice from Jody and I hope you enjoyed it. This next one, give me 25 minutes. I'll give you 7 years of brutally honest retirement advice. It's not the same as this one, but it's another good video to follow up after watching this. So watch that next.